What industry do you work within and what are the current challenges?
Yeah, work in financial services for a firm called Clifton Asset Management. So the challenges that we have is primarily the fact that we have numerous different businesses within the overall group. So we have different staff, different experience levels, but this is the one thing that we really identified is that we had a gap in our learning and development programme. Cut down to a couple of things is the resources that are available for a growing company, and also as well, what is the right methodology to suit the business and basically to future-proof our learning and development programme. There had been numerous options I'd looked at on how to take our learning and development forwards, but I was never entirely committed to the underlying methodology. Basically putting people into the classroom where you would talk at them about a subject, where they'd leave the classroom and then immediately start forgetting what they'd learned. What was important to us was to come up with something that could really help embed learning and knowledge. So I'd first started speaking to Elephants Don't Forget quite a few years ago. I was really impressed with the technology, but I just felt that the business wasn't ready to make that step. But it was only late during the course of last year that we started speaking to Elephants Don't Forget again, because we felt that was the ideal solution for the business. What I also thought was going to be a challenge was to sell this to the directors. But once I put it to the directors, it was a very, very easy sell. They loved the concept. They could see that that would help future-proof our learning and development within the business. So then we just started the implementation process, which went really, really smoothly. And we were absolutely delighted with how it went because we've got a lot of very good learning material. So we were able to hand that over to Elephants Don't Forget, who converted that into a superb range of questions. So we were able to implement very, very quickly. Then the next challenge and the next fear for us was, well, how engaged are staff going to be with this? So we were very conscious about, and with the support from our accounts director, Sophie, was to put together the compelling story, get staff on board. So once we then do start roll out and people start receiving questions, that they would buy into it. And we've been up and running now for over 3 months. I think we're in our fourth month now. Engagement is up around the 96% mark, and the competency level has increased 13% in the time that we've been using the system. We have 60-something staff that are plugged into the system, so that's quite a reasonable number of staff. And what has also been useful to see is what I don't necessarily expect to get from staff is a load of positive feedback thanking us for what we're doing. And in some respect, there's been some of the negative feedback that has been particularly valuable. Negative, I'll just put that into context. For example, we had a member of staff come back to us say, I'm struggling, I'm dyslexic. So we took that on board and we increased the time they had to answer the questions. We'd have other questions coming along for some staff saying, why am I getting so many questions on this particular subject? So we'll have a close look at that and establish, yeah, we can understand that. So we'll give you less of those questions. And other questions that we sent that would have an abbreviation in it, where they might not necessarily understand what the abbreviation was. So I had somebody come back saying, well, what does NCA stand for? We just assumed people would know that. So we'd go back into the questions and adjust the questions accordingly. So with whatever type of feedback that we're getting, it's really showing us that the staff are engaged, and it helps just support the fact that we've got a very high engagement score. So we just got to make sure that we just keep reinforcing it, keep embedding it, so we can make sure that staff continue to be engaged. And one of the big takeaways that we had from today was hearing people's stories about using that for the staff onboarding process. because we've been starting to think about how to use it for that purpose, but really didn't have any clear-cut ideas how to best approach that. But a really big takeaway from today is to be able to go away and then just start using that for staff onboarding. But also as well, using it to gauge the thoughts on current staff as well, about how they're engaging with their manager, etc. So a lot of really valuable takeaways today on how we can develop and enhance how we're using the system.
Would you recommend Nelly to one of your industry peers?
Absolutely, without hesitation. And I have already been doing that. I've already been recommending it. And once I've described the concepts to people, you get a lot of people thinking, oh, I didn't even know that type of thing existed. So yes, I have recommended it and I will continue to recommend it. I have looked at other more traditional learning management systems, but would not consider recommending those. It would only be the Clever Nelly system that I would consider recommending.